This is how to use loops and tasks in Roblox Studios. First, we're going to start off with loops, and the first loop I'm going to show you is the for loop. There's four main variables that are in a for loop. There's the I value, or like the step that the loop is on, and the starting number, which is the number that the I will start on, the ending number that I will end on, the step, and that's how like the I value will change over each iteration. And these are all integers. They can't be fractions or decimal points. The step can be negative, and I'm pretty sure the start and end can be as well. And if the step is negative, then the start number has to be bigger than the end number. And I'll just count down instead of counting up. I'll just show you how it works with this simple print. It will print the step that it's on, or the I. You'll see here. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individually. You can use this to run code multiple times, like having it like print high 10 times basically, or anything that is just repetitive. You can just use a for loop. There's another way you can use a for loop, and that is with a list. There's actually two ways to use it with a list, but we'll do one, the first way, and that is by getting the amount of items in the list and setting that as the end number. The step does have to be 1. Well, if you wanted to go from the last item in the list to the first, you would have to have the starting number as the amount of the number of the items in the list, and the end number has to be 1, with the step being -1. And the list can have any type of value inside of it, and you would usually use this by taking the I value, putting like square brackets around the I after the list like this to get the item. So like, let's say I was equal to 1, it'll go into this list right here and get the first value, which is 1, and then it'll print it, and then it'll do it for every other item in the list. And you can use this to run code for every, like, you could have a list of like player names, and then I don't know what you can use this for a lot of things. I'm not that creative. But the second way is a little more um well, it's a little less versatile, but it's easier to use. So basically the I is the same thing, but it will default to start at 1, and the value is basically just this. And this just basically sets everything up. Yeah, it's just a little easier to use, but it's less versatile. And let's show, well, I didn't show you the first one. You can see here it prints out everything, and then it prints everything and like the ID, or like, yeah, the ID of that like item in the list. So like 1 is ID 1, apple is 2. You get it. Okay, now we'll go on to the while loops and repeats. They're basically the same exact thing, but while loops will repeat until the condition isn't met, and repeats will repeat until the condition is met. So this will continue, well, if we set this to true, this will continue until this is false, or doesn't equal true. And this will repeat until this equals true. Also, you want to have a wait inside, and that's because if you just have a while or for loop, it'll basically run the code inside instantaneously, like at the speed of light, and your computer will not be happy. So you want to have a wait in there. Oh yeah, another thing to tell you is that while this is running, no code after it will run until the condition isn't met, or the condition is met. So it's a good way to, like, if you're trying to wait for like something like other functions to finish, you can have like a variable that says if they're done, and then just have a repeat that says wait until those variables equals, like, those variables tell you that all the other functions have like fully completed, if that makes sense. We can just make that false so we can show you the repeat. That's basically it for loops, and now we're on to tasks, which are basically ways to run functions and like manipulate the code to like layer it. You can like kind of layer code on top of each other and like stop it, if that makes sense. So task.wait, it will stop all the code after it for the exact number of seconds. The difference between task.wait and wait is wait will be affected by other like functions running. Like if something is like high stress on the computer, it'll like affect the wait, but the task.wait won't be affected at all. So that's why it's better to do the task.wait. And it only takes one variable and it's in seconds, so you can have like it doesn't have to be an integer like the for loops. Like you can have decimal point. Okay, and now task.spawn. So basically it runs it, but if you just had the function run by itself without the spawn, it'll run it and then wait until that function is done and then run the code after it. But with the spawn, it'll run the code and then it'll run the function as well as the code after it, like basically together. So that's like the layering part I was talking about. So this will spawn a function that'll print hi, wait like a quarter of a second, say bye, but when if it lets this print say hi, it'll say two highs and then a bye. Hi, hi, bye. And it works. Okay, and now the delay. So basically, it's the same thing. It's basically the task.spawn and the task.wait put together. So it basically delays the function from running for a certain number of seconds, the first like variable, and the function's the second. It works the exact same way as the spawn, and it lets everything after it run without waiting for it. And if you use the tasks and the for loops together, you can do basically anything with like lists and data and stuff. That's basically it. There is a couple like different things in the task, but they're more complicated, and I don't think they're that more useful than the three right here. So that's it. That's how to use loops and the tasks in Roblox Studios.